Welcome back to the channel. My name is June. This morning we want to talk a little bit about guest houses in Jamaica and the type of clientele that visit these places and why they do. Also, we want to look, and to decide whether these places have some amount of importance in today's society and how even the church view these places. Over the last 3 weeks, I took time out to visit 4 of these places, to sit in my car and to observe the traffic in and out. Of course, I could not be spending more than half an hour at each of the places. So I can only report on what I have seen in these half an hour time spans. I have gone at different times of the day to see what type of traffic and who comes and who goes. And it's quite an interesting business, if I might say so. Very interesting. People of all walks of life are visitors to these or do business at these places. My first stop was at one in the Crossroads area, and I went there about 9 a.m. on a Wednesday, and it was busy. 9 a.m., very busy. A lot of cars were there, people leaving, and also persons were coming in. Persons in their vehicles and also persons who were, you'd call them, walk-in customers. It was quite interesting to see the type of vehicles that were coming, the type of persons in terms of their dress code who were coming in and leaving. And quite fascinating, I am of the opinion that married couples were part of the clientele because I observed on 2 occasions that same day that men were walking out with rings on what we'd call, the married finger, or we'd say wedding bands. So I am assuming that these were couples, married couples being there, for whatever reason, just to chill maybe and to be away from the kids or their families. I have seen one same-sex couple going into the building. So I assume then that these places cater for persons all across the board. It has no bias as to a person's sexuality. My next place was on a Saturday morning, about 10 a.m. this time, and I was in the Marasca Road area, some road leading off Marasca Road. And it was like exciting. The dress code for these persons was quite different from those that I saw in the Crossroads area. These persons were just coming out in little shorts and tank tops and flip-flops, and they weren't looking as dressy as those that I have seen in the Crossroads area. So by my observation, I said, okay, fine. So these 2 places maybe cater to 2 different clienteles. One was more upstream than the next. Yeah, that's how I look at it. And the persons were quite happy, going in, coming out, quite happy. So I said, okay, if your customers are happy, then you are doing something good. This type of business must be good. Persons are happy. Yeah, I mean, playful, joyful, plain coming out. It was quite a sight in that early morning. But then I only had half an hour to observe. And so I left. On a Saturday night, I went to the famous back road that is in the parish of St. Catherine. And, well, was it a buzzing. Yes, there were persons on the street soliciting business. They were skimpily dressed, the female. And, these days you can't even say the sex of a person, whether this person is male or female. Really, it is hard to tell. Yes, so you can only say, yes, I have seen persons. So I was on the street a bit because I bought myself a beer and stood outside one of these restaurants just to observe the surrounding, because I knew from traveling that road often that persons would have been on the street soliciting their business, peddling their stuff, and all of that. And then they would move into whatever room or so that they have rented in one of these guest houses. So, of course, my car was parked in one of these places. So I went and I sat in my car. And was this place busy? People coming in, people going out, persons who work on the street workers, sex workers coming in and out, busy, busy. I was parked there for half an hour, but after that, I drove out and I parked where my friends were having their drink. I actually parked in one of the car parks there and walk back to the guest house. This time now, I went to the front desk, posing as a customer, and then, to find out some prices and all of that, and how long I would be able to stay, things like that. And a lot of persons were coming in, as I said, going out, persons standing in line waiting. And what was fascinating though, you didn't see the couples. You'd see one person, just like myself was asking question, just one person you would see come. You would not see the couple. And quite interesting again, there were persons who were wearing what seems to be wedding bands. Men who were actually wearing their wedding bands. So I asked myself, whether these persons were actually in extramarital relationships or whether they were there with their wives. I don't know. Not my business anyway. It was just a thought, which I kept to myself until now. The next place I did some observation was over in Spanish Town. There's a famous guest house off the main. Yeah, for that one, I couldn't really park for long inside the premises. I just went in, asked a couple of questions, and get out. But then, whilst in there, it was like people were living there. It was like a little community. Persons seems to be familiar with each other, having conversations. So I was like, okay, this seems to be a different type of setup where maybe you have the customers or the persons who will be doing their business there in-house, and then the clientele would come and choose whoever they want to go with. I don't know. I was just observing. You can't ask questions in these places. No, you can only observe. So my question is this now, or am I to understand that many persons, Christians, non-Christians, married, single, homosexual, pansexual, straight, whatever it is, we all meet up at these places. Is it wrong then for me as a Christian to want to spend some time with my husband at one of these places? Do I look at it as being a place where many persons who are not married go to have their sexual fun? How should I look at it? I am seeing persons who I assume are married coming into these places. Are they with their wives? Are they with their extramarital partner? What is it? How do you look at it? Is it morally wrong to create these type of businesses where persons can just go and book into a place with their partner? Do you see it any different from a person booking one of those high-end hotels or Airbnb? What is your outlook on it? Don't you think that there is a need for this type of business in this country and elsewhere? I think so. I think that it serves a purpose. Yeah, that persons can either go there just to have conversations. Maybe you go with your lifetime partner. Maybe you are in a relationship and it's not convenient to take your partner home. Or maybe it's just that two persons, two adults, decide to spend some quality time sexually with each other. What is your take on the matter? Do you share my opinion? Many stories are told of these places, that wives going there to catch their husbands with their sweethearts, or husbands going there to see their wife, with, the other person in the relationship. And many a times, even police go to these places because they get information that persons who are underage are clients of these places. Persons, the older person, the more mature person, the adult would go and make the booking, and then the adolescent is taken into the room to do whatever they come there to do. So it's a bit of a thing. Food for thought. Talk to me in the comment section now. And subscribe to the channel, please. Sending you love from Jamaica, always.